his X account, he wrote that you tested us once before. The world has once again seen that it was you who started playing with fire and attacking infrastructures. This time, the equation will no longer be an eye for eye, just wait. This is obviously another indicative of escalation, seeing the very fact that previously we heard from Iranians talking about this retaliatory tit-for-tat strategy, but now we see the level of the warning messages coming from Iran ramping up to a next level, and that runs the risk of obviously further escalation. For over the past few hours, we heard from IRGC about the initiation of their actually wave 84 of their retaliatory strikes. And also we have to keep in mind that last time, a couple of days ago, when the Israelis and Americans targeted actually the nuclear facilities of the country, in particular the one in Natanz, Iran responded with attacking Dimona, and then there might be a possibility for that. Iran is also saying that the U.S. assets across the region, as well as U.S. bases across the region, and the Israeli territories are going to be our quote-unquote legitimate targets, seeing the continuation of these airstrikes by the Americans and Israelis.
Yeah, in the meantime, Donald Trump doubling down on his statements that talks with Iran are because he believes that Iran is desperate to make a deal. What is Iran saying about all of this?
Yeah, that's just quite the other way around. I mean, the two sides are trading accusations, and Iranian side in that regard says that there is no willingness at this point for getting engaged in trajectory of diplomatic settlement to this already delicate situation. And the first reason perhaps is that is the very nature of the situation, which includes so many.
And a spokesman for Yemen's Houthis is speaking from Sana'a. We'll listen in.
Of the Yemeni armed forces regarding the immediate intervention in support of the Islamic Republic of Iran and to the resistance fronts in Lebanon, Iraq, and Palestine, and within the current situation of the escalation and the ongoing attacks our brothers in Lebanon and Iran and Iraq and Palestine, the Yemeni forces, with the help and grace of Allah Almighty, has done its first military attacks with a barrage of ballistic missiles against military sensitive attacks in Israel in the south of the occupied Palestine. This operation coincides with the heroic operations by the Mujahideen in Iran and Hezbollah in Lebanon. The operation has achieved all the goals with the help of Allah Almighty. Our operations will continue till we achieve all the announced and declared objectives. The former statement of the Yemeni armed forces until the aggression against all the fronts of resistance will stop. Allah is our supporter, and Allah is the grace, and with the help of Allah we will live. Long live Yemen, independent. Victory will be for Yemen and the free people of our nation. Sana'a, Yemen, the 28th of March 2026. A statement from the Yemeni armed forces.
You're watching Al Jazeera. We've just been bringing you a statement that was being made by a spokesman for the Houthi armed group in Yemen. Now, this follows Israel saying that it had detected a missile which had been fired from Yemen. The spokesman said that it was in support of Iran and Lebanon and Iraq and in Palestine. He said it was the first military attack barrage which contained a barrage of missiles. He said this operation has achieved all its goals. I'm kind of summarizing what he was saying. He said, our operations will continue. Now, in Lebanon, Israel has issued new forced evacuation orders in the south. The military is telling residents to move north of Zakhani River, and that extends the evacuation zone beyond the Litani River, significantly expanding the affected area. The Norwegian Refugee Council says the orders now cover more than 1,400 square kilometers. That's around 14% of Lebanon's territory. And as Israel's attacks on Lebanon increase, so does the death toll. The Lebanese Health Ministry says Israeli strikes have killed 4 people and injured 8 others in the southern town of Saksakia. Israeli forces also carried out strikes on the nearby town of Sarafand. Beirut's southern suburbs have also been struck again in the early hours of Saturday. The Israeli military says it was targeting Hezbollah. Thousands of people have fled the capital because of the bombing. Health officials say that 26 people were killed, 86 others injured in Israeli attacks over the past 24 hours. Going to go to Zaina Khadr, who's live for us in Beirut. So Israel has been making advances in the south of Lebanon. What more?
Yes, the Israeli army making advances, pushing deeper inside Lebanese territory, but it is also suffering losses. In the early hours of the morning, Israeli media reported, quote, a serious security incident in southern Lebanon, reporting that evacuation ambulance helicopters were flying over northern Israel, heading to hospitals in the area. The Israeli army now acknowledging that 2 of its troops were seriously injured and 7 others suffered moderate injuries in separate attacks launched by Hezbollah in southern Lebanon overnight. Since this conflict began, since Israel has been carrying out ground incursions into Lebanon, it has acknowledged the deaths of 4 soldiers. Hezbollah, in a statement in the early hours of the morning, said it carried out an ambush against Israeli troops in the town of Taibe. That's a few kilometers from the border. The Israeli military reached this town. It's very strategic. It's on elevated ground, and it's really the gateway if the Israeli army is to reach the Litani River. So Hezbollah carrying out ambushes, targeting troops who are now operating inside a number of villages in southern Lebanon. What Hezbollah is trying to do is to prevent the Israeli army from consolidating control. They cannot stop an advancing army with tanks and drones. Hezbollah is using guerrilla tactics. Now, whether or not it will be able to de-escalate the situation, gain military gains on the ground so that it will have some sort of political leverage, the battle has just begun. But clearly, with the Israeli army acknowledging these losses as well, Hezbollah is trying to make this operation costly. So the ground invasion continues with Israel's stated aim of creating a buffer zone and at its deepest point, some 30 kilometers from the border. All the while, Israeli airstrikes continue across southern Lebanon, targeting Beirut's southern suburbs again overnight. The death toll keeps climbing. 1.2 million people displaced, with the United Nations warning of quote, a humanitarian catastrophe in Lebanon.
Zaina, thank you very much indeed. Zaina Khadr there, live for us in Beirut. There are reports that an Iranian attack on a U.S. military base in Saudi Arabia has injured at least 12 American troops. U.S. media says the Prince Sultan air base was hit. It's around 100 kilometers southeast of the Saudi capital, Riyadh. 2 U.S. service members have been seriously injured. More than 300 U.S. troops have been injured in the war, and at least 13 have been killed. Zain Basravi is in Dubai for us. There have been